Hello, and welcome to the first of my resumes of the Rolling Stones. With the Kingston Rolling Stones, I had my main two artists that I loved in the 60s, mainly because of the angst, I think. I wasn't keen on the very nicey, although there were a few artists and acts like the Walker Brothers that I very much like. But for the most part, I preferred the more livelier style of music. T-shirt. This was brought to me by a friend in America. I think it was from Pennsylvania. A few years ago. It's one I usually wear it when I go to Stones concerts. And just to make it clear, this is coming all the way from the UK. It looks a bit like the Rolling Stones circus, I thought. Anyway, I'm just going to run through a few of the things I have regarding the Rolling Stones. I'll start off with the few vinyls. Now, you'll recall maybe from the Kinks material I looked at, in the early days I didn't have money for albums and very rarely managed to get singles. However, when I first started work, it's about 1966-ish, or just before, 65, and I didn't have any albums then, and or very few if I did. And there was somebody at work who had got the Rolling Stones' first album. The album, just entitled The Rolling Stones, was probably still their best album to date, in my view, although they have made many credible ones since. But the person in the office that I was speaking to in my early days at work had the Rolling Stones LP, and she said it had been played that many times they were throwing it out. So naturally I wanted to get hold of it, and I did, and you can see by the battered state of this album that it really was well used. It still plays, might be a bit crackly, but it still plays. This was when the Stones were recording their own music and other artists' music, although they hadn't really got into the writing zone. Their first two singles, in fact, Come On, which I didn't mind too much, and I Want to Be Your Man I wasn't so keen on, but It's All Over Now was really the first song that grasped my interest, took my interest. Still a great track, it stands up today and one I like singing myself. After that I did get hold of some albums, because if I was going to spend on anything it was going to be Kinks or the Stones, so not surprisingly there's the Rolling Stones #2 album. Again, this has been played to bits by me. I didn't used to have one of them Dansett record players that many had in the UK. I used to have a part-time job when I was at college, and the guy that ran the area, the place I was working, he decided to emigrate to Australia, somewhere I might have gone but for a twist of fate. And he was getting rid of his stuff, and he asked me to go round. I don't know why he'd got a new house and he was moving, but anyway, at that time he had this new property, and it was still like a building site, and he said, if you completely dig over my gardens, turn them over and get them ready for use, he says, you can have my old record player. Now in those days this was the Dansett seemed somewhat plasticky, shall I say, and it wasn't like that. It was a solid box, and all the usual things, the arm to come round and put on the top of your record so they drop down and play, but it was like a little bit classier than the average vinyl player of the day. Anyway, I did the job and I got the record player. Well, obviously before that I didn't have anything to play records, so that's what got me moving as well. Then we had the third album, Out of Our Heads. As I said before on the Kinks, a lot of these I didn't get when they were brand new, but I got them when they were going out of the charts, or somebody, or they were put in later into baskets, so that didn't happen much with the Stones, of course. But that's Out of Our Heads. Still got some covers on there, one or two records of their own, but still not many. Heart of Stone for instance, Jagger and Richards, I'm Free. But there were still a few others, Chuck Berry type songs, but Talking About You, and several other artists' records and material they recorded. Still a great album though, as I think most of the 60s albums were. Aftermath, the fourth album. This one, a lot more of their own material. And one of the tracks, which is Going Home, which lasts over 11 minutes, was used, or extracted part of it was used as one of the many records that were used to introduce Ready Steady Go. It started off with the Manfred Mann's 5 4 3 2 1, and then Land of a Thousand Dances by Wilson Pickett, and Going Home by the Rolling Stones, part of it was used as well. And over 11.5 minutes, it was pretty long for the time. And then their fifth album, and also the last one I actually bought in vinyl, was Between the Buttons. Again, I just like them, so there's not much point in saying anything other than that. So you can imagine these 5 albums, being the only vinyl albums I had of the Rolling Stones, were played and played and played. Still got the sleeves. Slightly worn, but still got them. Right, so that was the albums I got, vinyl albums. As far as vinyl on 45s goes, I got this one on an import because it was cheaper than an album, so I got it while I could, which has Carol, I'm a King Bee, Walking the Dog, and Can I Get a Witness on it. Don't know which country it came from. Probably America, I don't know. Might come all the way back. But wherever I got it from, that was my chance to get some of the tracks that were on the early albums that I couldn't afford to buy at the time. This is Little Red Rooster, which is probably, it has to rank as one of my favourite all-time Stones records. I mean, to me it's better than the original. I love the way the guitar actually speaks the words. And I know as a blues record it was a #1, and just out of this world as far as I'm concerned, as far as Stones blues records go. On the B-side, Off the Hook, much played, and in a time that I was at college, we used to go to a bar nearby the college, and there was all a jukebox in there, and we used to go there frequently and play all these type of songs. We have Get Off My Cloud. Now, Get Off My Cloud, it's funny, I suppose there are some records you remember where you bought them. And this particular record I bought in Doncaster in Yorkshire, not too far away from the football ground that used to be. Just a small independent record store, but I bought that. Then the single that probably broke them in America, Satisfaction. It speaks for itself. The cutted guitar riff and the overall sound for its time was quite outstanding. And the B-side, Spider to the Fly, was one of those that did get played a lot in that pub I was talking about. And I said, my, like the spider to the fly. And we used to sing all the songs, all the words, of course. Then we're into 19th Nervous Breakdown, with As Tears Go By on the B-side, which was also, of course, the single hit for Marianne Faithfull. Paint It Black. My memories of Paint It Black was it being played at the East Coast Resort of Clacton, along with Wild Thing. It was like the background to the fun fairs and everywhere. I remember we went over there one day for the day out in our younger days on a Sunday just to hang out. And very appropriately, the last single I have on vinyl is The Last Time. Although it didn't grab me as much when I first heard it, I must say now I really love it, and Play With Fire on the B-side. So that's the vinyl part of the Rolling Stones. Like the Kinks, I have a lot of CDs and a few well, one or two DVDs anyway. You may recognise this as looking like Sticky Fingers, but I've been to Bill Wyman's Sticky Fingers bar, restaurant in London a couple of times, and this was their menu. So it opens up as a menu. I don't steal things, but you probably won't believe this, but we were talking to another couple who were very keen on the Stones, and of course everybody was that generally goes there, and we were looking at that, and I had a big carry bag with me at the time because we'd been shopping, and when, unbeknown to me, she stuck this in the carrier bag. I didn't realise till I got home, but then again I was quite happy about it because I expect he's got enough money to buy a few more. But this is the sticky bits on the back, talking about the souvenir shop and the things you can actually buy in the Sticky Fingers itself. So that's it, Sticky Fingers, Bill Wyman's restaurant. Not so long ago I bought the Martin Scorsese video of the Stones playing in America. Another really classy recording, a few guest stars included, and it's really well made. I think the quality of some of the stuff that's available today is amazing. But that's Shine a Light. Has been shown a few times on the TV now, I think, because it's a few years old, but excellent DVD. Now, like with the Kinks as well, I also do my own recording off the TV and then put it on the DVD. This one includes, among others, their Ladies and Gentlemen DVD, which was shown on the television, so I copied it off the TV and put it onto DVD myself. There's all sorts on this one, various music, but it does include a Rolling Stones biography. Just for the record, it's got the Who biography, All Right Now by Free, Brandon Flowers from The Killers, tracks from Flamingo, his album, Ray Davies, Jules interview, and Sheryl Crow, Long Road Home on later as well. This one has a good interview with Andrew Marr with Keith Richard. It was recorded in 2010. I thought it was an excellent interview. Have that on here. Also, just the song Start Me Up by the Stones and Rain Fall Down off one of their more recent albums. And there's also a Keith Richards interview on The Culture Show, another programme on the TV which I just happened to catch and put on DVD. It's handy to have these. I'd use them as a reference quite often and go back and look at them just when my mind's forgotten what it's all about, but it's nice to have them and see them whenever I want. This is the Stones in 2006 when they set that attendance record for a concert at the Copacabana, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I had the fortune to visit Rio 3 or 4 years ago, and I had a hotel room on a hotel in the centre of the Copacabana with swimming pool on the roof, and we got there when it was dark, so I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, up on the roof, looking out into the bay at the sun rising, and thought, this is heaven. So this is their actual concert they did in 2006. So they beat me by about 3 years, but I did get there, I have been there, and did enjoy Rio. So that concludes my first little summary of the Rolling Stones, my collection, and the music I love so much.